listening to the Mothership Connection, your cosmic link to the other side.
Attempt to adjust your computer, there is nothing wrong. We have taken control as to bring you this special show. The Mothership flies through cyberspace once again. My name is Dobie Maxwell, one of your co-hosts, also known as the King of Uranus. To my left, to your right, is Greg DeGuire, the super geek who knows everything about any conspiracy theory, outer space, honky-tonks, gin joints, and smoke-filled fornicatoriums where he resides. To my right, to your left, is Keri Turner, our Millennial Falcon, who adds a different level to the show, and it's all been good. She is our technical director, along with her love man Adam, who is not here today.
He disappeared again.
He disappeared.
This happens often.
They go into their fornicatorium.
Exactly.
After the show.
I was gonna say, see you guys.
When the
I got
spaceship's
some
rocking,
important
don't come
business
back.
matters.
It's gonna be the new name of like a male love doll. It's gonna be called the Love Doll.
The love.
Just love that.
This is a special show for us, believe it or not. We have a special every week. This is our 1-year anniversary show of our video cast.
Yeah.
Radio.
Yay.
And I couldn't have done it without you guys. It was a lot of fun. Now, Keri did not. Did you listen when we were on the radio?
I didn't know about
Didn't
it.
know about it.
But my mom might have heard you guys. She listens to WIP all the time. She loves radio.
We were on a WLIP in Kenosha, Wisconsin, AM 1050. With these, I think the signal goes maybe to the end of the parking lot. At Sunday nights.
So it would seem.
Much of our listenership came online, and we had a lot. Stephen King's neighbor listened in Bangor, Maine. And we had guests from all over the world, and a lot of them, their friends would listen to us, and then they would say, "Boy, I like your show. I'm going to listen to you guys. My friend was on, but I like you." We had a whole contingency of just great listeners and great guests, and we're trying to get it back up again. So the first year, we got to crawl before we walk, before we run, but things are starting to get emotional now, thanks to Keri's fine work, and thank you for doing that on the internet. And Greg is Greg, and he's always we'll bring more books, UFO encounters. If you have a book, send it to Greg. I don't know how many dumps one person could take in the bathroom to read as much about conspiracies as you do, brother.
That sounds like a challenge.
Well, it's
challenge
funny.
accepted, sir.
How Greg got started on the show was that Gary Panch, who is not on the show anymore, he moved back up north into Wisconsin, said, "I have a friend that knows about the Rocky Horror Picture Show." And I think it was the anniversary of it. I said, "Well, bring him in. That sounds interesting."
Well, what it was, he was going to induct Richard O'Brien into the Mothership Connection Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah. So he brought me in as an expert witness for the defense. And knowing that I was going to be on the radio, I was excited. I mean, I knew about 3-4 weeks ahead of time, and I went into full study mode. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it.
Right, yeah.
So I watched the DVD backwards, forwards, and upside down. Every extra that's on my Rocky Horror DVD, plus shock treatment, the next movie, not necessarily the sequel, but the next movie with Rocky characters, behind the scenes, director commentary, anything I could get my hands on. And I found, because I used to perform Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Oriental Theater at the corner of North and Farwell in Milwaukee. Did that for about 4 years. So I went back into my personal vaults and collections and got everything I could get my hands on to try to relive those days in a period of about 4 weeks. And come the showtime, I brought a couple of things with me so I could have quick reference points in case they cornered me on something. And I didn't know how intensive it was going to be, but for 4 weeks I listened to the show, and I remember hearing you a couple times. It was you, Gray, Gary, and Dr. D, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be part of this. This is hilarious. Joey O'Shea, he was there too. It was really good stuff. I'm like, man, I don't think I got the chops to keep up with these guys. That's not possible. So I get on the show, and I'm nervous. I mean, I couldn't.
That's funny.
I froze on that microphone. I totally froze. Because right next to me was Dr. Destruction, and here in town, he's big time. Right, everybody knows Dr. Destruction, Crimson Theater. I mean, I watched it all the time when I had the Jones Intercable and the Time Warner cable. I knew of him well. He's in all the parades. Didn't know he's like 8 feet tall. Anyone's ever met Dr. D, he's not quite 8 feet. Well, he might be almost 8 feet tall.
He wears platform shoes.
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
He's a tall guy anyway, yes.
And I sat next to him in complete awestruck. Because I'm like, wow, this is the dude, he's right here. So there were a couple of, I think I was in like the second hour or something like that, and for that first hour, I shit my pants, waiting for my turn to get a microphone in front of me, thinking, I'm going to screw this up, So then they get to my segment, and I thought I was clear, cut, and concise with every question that they floated by me. And I started throwing oddball facts about the castle that they filmed it in, how it was a hideout in World War II by Charles de Gaulle, and it's right across the street from the Hammer Horror Studios. They filmed a bunch of stuff there. I just threw out every oddball fact I could conceive of off the top of my head to try to keep it lively and interesting, because it's the radio. And I listened to a lot of radio when I was a kid. I grew up with 620 WTMJ out of Milwaukee, listening to the Jonathan Green Show, and he was just on point. So when you're on the radio, no one ever wants to hear, I don't. That ain't gonna go, man. You gotta stay fly. You gotta go with it. So I guess I handled it well.
It's so funny to see it from your side and from our side. Gary Pan said, "Yeah, I got a buddy that wants to come on. Hey, bring anybody on." I'm pretty open about it because I like to think I have somewhat of a quick mind for being a comedian for my entire life. So if someone's a dead guest, we'll try to make the best of it. Hit a commercial, pound sand.
Right.
Here's your little prize package. See you later.
That happens, yeah.
Your $3 your whoopee cushion. And
Don't spend it all in one place.
Yeah,
exactly. And you were great. I thought, man, this guy knows his stuff. He's very easygoing. Like I remember that. I went, please come back. I mean, I know what else. Well, I know a lot of other stuff too. Kennedy assassination, UFO. Well, come on back. I don't know how long it was until you came back.
It was on that show that they started talking about. What's the Tesla, and then I chimed in because I had worked for a lighting showroom here in town for Northern Lights, and they started talking about magnets and Tesla, and I started chiming in about how ceiling fans. There is a specific type of ceiling fan that only used 3 watts of power. So what it is, you turn on the light switch. It starts off using like 20 watts to power the fan, but as the fan goes, there's magnets inside the fan motor that start connecting the motor together, so it lowers the wattage of the fan. And that was an idea inspired by Tesla. And I chimed in on that, and I remember Joey O'Shea. So I was on the other side. Joey O'Shea's over here. He's looking at me. He's like, dude, man, what do you do again? It's like you couldn't figure out that I'm just popping off on every topic you guys had.
Yeah, truly great.
Yeah.
It was one of those things, match made in heaven.
Born for radio.
It really happened. Now, how did you get interested in this stuff? If you did it all, maybe you're faking it. You're faking it.
No,
Let me try to do that.
No, my mom was the one I always listened to local radio, Chicago area, Kenosha radio, WIP, all that stuff, and then I just like listening to radio in general. But I moved away for a year. I lived with my dad, but when I moved back up here to live with Adam, I worked at the same place Greg did. And I don't know how we got on the subject. Like, we both like Rocky Horror.
Yeah, well, and initially, we hit it off pretty well because we had a lot of similar interests and topics and stuff. And then you had mentioned that you wanted to start your own, like a YouTube, a webcast.
I wanted to get out there. And
that was within a week of you coming back around and saying you want to do stuff. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. I'm an idiot. I'm a complete dunce with technology.
Not like me.
Here's a youngin' who can do this stuff blindfolded. And I thought, well, I'll ask her to see if maybe she wants to come on board and give us a hand for a while. And that was that.
I loved it.
Okay,
it's been a great year.
without her, I'm not sure this would have worked.
Well, it's going to get a lot better. It's amazing to me that in this day and age, we can put things together.
Baby steps.
Anybody, crawl before you walk, before you run. And we started getting the radio show humming pretty good.
Oh, we were doing good.
We got a lot of the same guests that Coast to Coast AM guy.
Yeah, George Norrie on Coast to Coast. I always try to outdo George. His show was the same time, but I think it was a little bit later than ours. So there's a lot of times I would listen to his show, or I would go to his website a lot, just to kind of see what everybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. And I always thought George was good, but he was dull. He's just dull. He had the same guests talk about the same things over and over and over again. And I didn't think it was a lively conversation. He was very concise and to the point. It's like listening to the nightly news. Okay, yeah, I like the nightly news, but this is so dumb.
Well, I think we differ. And I tell people when they come on, we're not going to make fun of you, but we're going to have fun with you. If you got the guts to come on and say you've been on a UFO with a big green finger in a place where we can't mention on regular radio,
we're all showing our fingers.
Well, they got that with the 4-knuckle one. It's about as big as a Kato salami, And that's people they liked it. And at first, people were a little bit shy to come on, but I didn't mess with their dignity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, I try to be the butt of the jokes in those kind of situations. And then word got out and said, well, my friend would be a great guest, and one thing led to another. We still have the original thing. We've got guests here for the next 20 years.
That's awesome.
If we'd like to get it going.
I kept all my notes from there,
The woman we met, Corinne, over at the concert the other night, she has her own rock radio station all around the country. She said she wants to come on soon.
Yeah, so if you saw some of the videos that were posted via Keri's phone, we were at a concert, a CD release party with Tammy Tiglin. She was on a little while ago. She's a manager of a local band called Mixed Company. And they had a CD release party at a bar called 58 Below.
58 Below.
It's clever because the bar is downstairs below 58th Street.
It's an awesome venue.
So 58 Below. Yeah, it was a pretty cool venue. So it was Resistance,
Day Rollers,
Saint Tragedy, and Mixed Company. And
4 of my favorite bands.
Yeah. Well, so we got the
all
idea.
the 8 tracks.
Yeah. The last album went aluminum. So we thought, well, let's try to do some interviews and stuff, and we did. I thought we got some pretty fun stuff.
We're gonna shout out. We got Ross on the Day Rollers, and then Tia and Seb. So that was fun.
Yeah, interviewing Ross was a blast. Thank you, Ross, if you're watching. That was awesome.
You gotta come on soon.
Yeah,
they're all welcome to do it too. It's amazing to me who of significant intelligence is not interested in the topics that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid when we got on the radio that it's going to be, there was a lady named Shirley who was a regular listener, and we loved her. I don't know why she was up 24/7. I don't know if she sleeps. Maybe she's a vampire.
I don't think she does sleep.
She's a werewolf. I have no idea. But no matter when she call in and check in, and she represented the typical listener of WLIP. Like you said, your grandpa listened 24/7. I'm thinking they're going to say we're sacrificing goats, and they're going to want us off the air and call Billy Graham before he's dead.
No, they absolutely dug our
They ate it up. They loved it up. And it's funny for me,
yeah.
I didn't live in Kenosha at the time. Now I do. And I'll still go someplace and bring my credit card out to pay for stuff. Mothership! Oh, I used to listen all the time.
Yeah.
So it took about 5 years to really start getting going, and then we kind of got yanked. So I don't know if we'll ever get back on terrestrial radio again, but I don't think we need to in this day and age. We can have a worldwide audience with this. It's more of a fun, laid back. It's almost like the Tonight Show meets Art Bell or George Norrie.
And I think for next year, we've talked about this a few times, we should push to get into some sort of Comic-Con or something.
Yeah.
Have a booth.
Yeah.
Then
coming up soon, in April 6th, I know Keri and I are going to go to C2E2. Now, that's a big comic book and entertainment expo. It's at McCormick Place in Chicago.
It's just as big as Comic-Con, too.
It's huge.
Maybe even better. So.
Yeah. So I'll be there Thursday trying to buy more. As you can see behind me, we're loaded with Star Wars toys, but there's a lot I don't have. There's a lot of comic books I'm still looking for, so I can't wait to go on a really grand adventure for that. It ought to be a good time.
It's one of the best days of the year.
Oh,
Probably even better than Christmas.
Well, that's why I have to defer to you guys, because I'm out doing comedy gigs trying to pay my bills,
Right.
And I've been trying to stop that habit called eating since
Yeah.
1985, and I haven't been able to kick it yet. Maybe there's a Betty Ford wing for the Eaters Anonymous or something, but I can't quit it. So I think if we can we have to work at it as a product, as a show, as an entity. We've had a lot of people on, and I think one thing leads to another. There was a guy that talks about going to thrift stores and flea markets, and he buys and sells stuff like that. He calls himself the Craigslist Warrior, I think he calls himself. And he happened to be in Crystal Lake, Illinois, and I happened to be there. I watched his videos. I stopped in. He said, "Hey, let me have you on, or to plug your stuff." I plugged my stuff and said, "I don't think anybody's watching, but if you are, I'll send you a free CD." I got requests from all over the world.
Oh.
He's got 150,000 people all over the world that watch him talk about it. He's a great Craigslist hunter, is what it is.
Oh.
So if you're watching this, go to Craigslist Hunter, and he's a really nice guy, and he's really interesting. And he does video. He puts a camera on his head, and he goes to flea markets and says, "Oh, how much for that?" Okay, and then
That's clever.
He shows you what he buys it for, and then he cleans it up and sells it. He's got
That's
a pawn shop in Crystal Lake, and really nice guy. Pete, his name is. And he's got an accent, so he's European.
We'll take a trip down there.
We'll take a trip down there. Absolutely true. Well, my point is, he really built up a hell of a following, and his listeners or viewers said, "Don't doubt the power of Pete's fan club."
Yeah.
They follow him. So hopefully we can get people like that for us.
Yeah.
Sure.
I really think we can.
We'll get a breakthrough very soon.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, if we keep putting out material as best as we can, like you said before, we all have our 9 to 5s. I mean, we all have outside lives, and we put in 29 episodes in a season.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good for everything else that we're up to, going through surgery, cruises, and everything else that we're doing.
On one cylinder. We didn't even get our guest list.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just bought a Nikon D3300, and that's a nice camera, so we'll be getting somewhere.
Yeah.
With the addition of a really awesome microphone and a good camera, that's a step in the
I mean, it's
door,
amazing.
so.
The camera that we have, and I know those of you can't see it, but we're being filmed on a $12 Logitech, I'm not sure how to enunciate that, little webcam. It
can be 1080p, which is good. It's good for what we're doing.
It's good for what we're doing. I mean, we're always trying to upgrade things, always trying to make things a little bit better here and there.
Yeah.
You're a base.
And our microphone is donated by a good friend of mine. His name is Joe Burke. He's an actor. His son, Trevor Burke, was a comedian. And he's more into acting now, but he was like from age 10 to like 13, he was the youngest comedian. He got on America's Got Talent. And Joe took my class, and I mentored Trevor, and they've always been supportive of anything. They bought the mic.
Wow.
So
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Joe Burke. Yes.
It's helped us out a lot.
It has helped us out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when the show ended at WLIP, and we kind of parted ways for a while, but it was funny because one of the guests that we had on was Edgar Winter. He's got a show on local cable here in Kenosha, and he wanted me to be a part of his show because he was on, 2 or 3 times?
Probably,
something like that. And every time he said that he was amazed that off the top of my head, I'm just popping stuff off. I mean, just ridiculous crap off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So he asked me to be his floor director, and I did that for a couple of years. But due to timing and other various circumstances, I couldn't do that anymore. But as that ended, then this started to come back around again. So things kind of complete full circle.
I don't know anybody that doesn't enjoy some part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a ghost story, you saw a UFO, you know somebody that saw a UFO, somebody's good. And they used to, it makes, it's so funny reading this book that they would make up something totally right away. That's what it was. There was a weird stain because there was on the ground. Well, bears did it. Well, there's no bears in the area, and but that's what it was, and they put it in the archives at the particular police station as that's what it was.
All right.
So I think now we have people like us can get. We also have Jay Bachochin and the Wisconsin.
Oh, we gotta get Jay over here. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I haven't talked to him in a long time too, and he wants to come back in. I haven't got a date now.
Jay would love this. He would love where we film. He's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to watch a show.
No.
But I think my basement was a perfect place to film, where we had the alcove under the stairs before. And one of these days, I'd like to go back and do another episode underneath there. The lighting was a big issue, but I've got a giant spotlight that I'm still trying to find a lesser wattage bulb for, because that thing's going to melt the paint off the wall.
Yeah.
But it was all about trying to get better lighting, trying to do better things.
Getting more people to fit in the area.
Yeah, and so I moved a table over here and put a higher wattage bulb in, and I think, plus with this background, I mean, I think this is it's really bitchin', yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, through you two, though, I've met so many awesome people I never thought I would meet in my life, and I really I love it. I think it's fun.
It is fun.
Well, it's so funny because a lot of the videos that I watch are really packed with some useful information.
Sure.
And it's just somebody in their closet. So we got to jazz it up a little bit, but you worry about, are we good enough? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
We got the potential.
We have the potential. Now it's somebody just showing up every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we're using this platform as our anniversary show to talk a little bit about ourselves.
Yeah.
Because one thing we really don't do, I mean, we do from time to time, but we haven't had like an inward episode since like the first couple episodes.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think every once a year, if we do like our anniversary show, we just kind of talk about us and where we're at and what we think about all this and where we want it to go. I think it's a fun idea to do.
My uncle touched me when I was 9.
Oh.
I shook my hand.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Give the little uncle, the little $5 bill for your birthday. Girls don't get that, do they?
My grandpa used to, actually.
Okay, because that's a
And
guy.
he's trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah, don't tell your mom. Tell your mom to sleep with a $5 bill.
Put it in your back pocket.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Pinch in the butt.
Oh.
So now, who's you? You go for ladies first.
I'm not really up to anything new. In the past year, I have switched careers, so I do not work with Greg anymore. But I'm happier where I'm at now. Pay better bosses. I don't know.
She's at the Pussycat Lounge.
See me there. I don't come cheap.
Checking IDs.
I don't come cheap.
Exactly.
So,
She works now at the Fornicatoria.
Well, you know what?
Nightly.
They got great benefits.
So I got to be out of here by 10. So.
Yeah. Now, what are your goals? What do you want to do with yourself? You're still young enough to have hopes and dreams.
Maybe. Well, Greg told me about this, and like I said, when we were talking last year when I worked where we were, I wanted to start a YouTube show or at least be on one. So when he brought this up, this is kind of always what I wanted to do, and I love being involved in the local media groups. We went to, what was that?
The Kenosha Media
Company,
it was the media banquet for their yearly awards, and I did a really good, because now the third Thursday of every month I tell stories at Club Fusion that's here in Kenosha. I'm part of the Oleo Collective Storytellers, and you can find that on YouTube. So they take published authors, and I've only had a couple of magazine articles published, but so you get up in front of a group of people and you tell a story. no notes, no laptops, no phones. You get in the it's you
It's
and the
all verbal.
microphone, just like what Dobie does. It's you and the microphone, and you tell a story. Now, I've done this 4 or 5 times now,
Yeah.
and now they've asked me to do it again. So
Cool.
by the time this airs, it's Thursday, April 26th or 20, whatever Thursday that is. It's their springtime show, and they've asked me to come back and do another show.
Yeah.
But that media banquet, that was really cool.
That was
I
great.
told my story of my involvement with local media, and it started with bowling on TV, to doing the radio show, to being a part of Dedger's Dark Coffin Classics, now to come in full circle to bring this show back to YouTube. I thought it was a fun story. I thought it was a real fun
And
story.
it was good, and then you got to meet all those people who are involved in the community too, and it was just
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what it inspired me and interested me. so.
I think it's not without the realm of possibility that we're filming this show for YouTube, but a lofty goal would be to film the show and put it on local cable
Yeah.
access. That's always we need is someone with a producer's credit, and we can rent equipment from local cable, plop a camera right there, and put this on TV. We're going to ruin a lot more people's eyes
Yeah.
on TV than just our fellow YouTubers.
We'll be right up there.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
Be
How would
good
we do that?
ratings.
How would we get a background to even match this one?
Can.
No.
I mean, this is the perfect backdrop.
I was gonna say you can bring the cameras around. I think. So honestly,
Yeah, you
sign
can
off
go
on the
to
equipment.
if you sign up on the equipment, you can bring it to different locations. Like if we did like so say if we got press passes to C2E2,
Yeah.
right? You bring the camera equipment there, and you film anything you want to and put it on.
And
your
it's
show.
amazing to me how cable access has really shrunk by
It has.
Yeah.
It has gotten a lot smaller, but it's still there. That's what's most important.
Right.
They haven't taken it away from us fully yet.
they're on their way there.
They're on their way.
They
They're
are
on their way. They.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing too, I think, is as you go there, you don't think about it. When I do a comedy show, it's over as soon as I say goodnight. The people that saw it. I don't record shows. I probably should have for the past how many years I did it. But these are on there, and I've got a few people that said, "Hey, I watched your, watched your show, and you guys were talking about this, and about a little riff that we did." It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we've talked about. I look back on the clips when I was making that homage video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even remember recording this.
And I think Keri said there's been a few comments on things that I've said that I fouled up or said wrong. And, again, I'm doing this off the top of my head. I mean, I don't always have reference material in front of me anymore, and I probably should. But sometimes it's fun just to get after stuff.
Yeah.
So if I've said the wrong thing or quoted the wrong date, I'm a human being and I'm sorry.
I want to get all the geeks that are living in their mom's basement to unite when we're on. And
Yeah.
say they look forward to it.
Yeah.
So they can hopefully, because we were on the computer when we were on the radio station, it would say something that people would have a running dialogue the whole
Yeah,
time.
I had a little laptop. It was like a little notepad, and as the show was live on air, whatever the hourly topic was, I would post on the Facebook page
Yeah.
immediately and have immediate feedback and chatter with people online while we were on the air. For a good long while, that was the coolest thing we ever could do.
And we could still make that happen. Facebook Live now has that feature when you go live, and we can find a good camera for it or something. They can comment and say that you're watching. You can see who's watching it,
Yep.
who's liking it, who's reacting, and who comments. But then you can have a good discussion while it's going on.
Well, we did that for the Halloween party. I mean, I'm going to propose that maybe we try it again sometime.
Yeah.
Actually, just film live.
Even while we're filming from here,
Yep.
film it, have the phone on us, maybe put it on a stand over here,
The thing is,
see who's looking.
We do have inconsistent, just because we all have lives.
Yeah.
It's hard to
That's
get.
fine.
If we could come up with a regular time, which I don't know what that is. But
Next time, maybe we could do a live show then. We could see how it goes. I'd be down with that.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
There's only one way to get to Carnegie Hall. Practice.
Yep.
I think practice means improvement. I don't know if it ever.
Well-
And I think half the people that watched our other live show, it was from your the Gregory DeGuire Facebook page.
Sure.
But then it was like half of your family. I think it was your aunt who was like, "I'm watching you right now."
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of people that they've heard all about it. They said, our cousin's a little goofy. He's got a show about aliens. But then they listen in and they say, wow, that's interesting. They want to support.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of putting the bad picture on the fridge wall of the 5-year-old kid. Okay, he's our nephew.
Good boy.
He rules his house.
One eyeball going this way, the other eyeball going that way.
He's a thalidomide baby. He's got no limbs. He's got one
One
pinky.
tooth that's going through his lip.
Yeah, but they listen. It's like that's a good thing. When your family, they'll give you the honest opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Well, your
My
show did
family
suck
doesn't watch
yesterday.
it.
I hope you do better next.
yeah, exactly. Wow, you're wasting my time with that. Put my
Yeah.
My family doesn't watch it. Teardrop.
Well, when you get famous, they will.
I know.
When we're in the
Maybe.
limo.
Well, Dobie, what have you been up to? I mean, this whole what have you got going?
I have been fortunate enough to be approached to open up my own comedy club, and I am a third owner of the Kenosha Comedy Club. We have Kenosha Comedy. Thank you. It's one of those things where I was trying to get out of the business. I'm sick of it. Everything's fine. It must be so fun to be an entertainer. And when you're in your 20s, it's kind of fun. And you get to be 30, it's like, boy, I really like. But I got into radio to be stable. You know, and when stand-up comedy is stable, radio is completely insane. And I got fired in all 5 time zones, or all 4 time zones, 5 times in all 4 time zones.
I should laugh. That's
funny. Very difficult to get fired in the mountain time zone. I did it. Salt Lake City, Utah. There are 3 words you never want to hear in the broadcast business: shut the door. Nothing good ever happens after those 3 words, and it really gives you a lot of experience, but then you have to move 1,000 miles from home and you're starting to settle into your life, and then the cement just starts to dry, and then you get to shut the door, and it's 9 months or a year. Or this. I never had a job more than a year and a month. That was it. And the Loop was one of the most the big stations, rock stations of all time. They just, as we were recording this, now going Christian rock after 40, I think 45 or 46 years.
That's what 23andMe's doing with their money. They just bought the Loop.
They want to see if they can find any Jewish listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
Moisha and Irving live at 6:30 in the morning.
Arnhem and Bagel.
We're gonna have our special kosher drive time from 3:30 to 5:30.
Raising a barn at 6.
Yeah.
Well, the part of that whole thing is, so now I have a comedy club. It's Friday and Saturday. You can KenoshaComedyClub.com. It's in the Wyndham, downtown Kenosha, right across from Villa DiCarlo.
Yeah, right across. Captain Mike's is right across the street from there.
Captain Mike's is right across.
Get some good food. Go see a good show.
Yeah,
Adam and I went there one of the first weeks you opened.
And we greatly appreciate it. And we have other comics coming back. So I've got 30 years of people like myself. How come I've never heard of you? How come I've never heard of these
You
comedians?
don't need to hear about them.
Well, it's a very hard thing because I think a lot of people, the average public has room in their head for maybe 3 comedians, and usually they're not even. Who's your favorite comedian? Bill Murray. John Belushi. Well, John Belushi died in 1982.
Right.
And he did some funny movies, but he's a comic actor. He was never a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
No.
And to develop people that are fans of stand-up comedy, it's very hard. People, they might want to come out, but whoever's got a job now has got 4 jobs because everybody in their department got fired, and they get home. They're supposed to get off at 5, but they got to stay till 6:30, and they're tired, and they come home and it's like, boy, once you sit down, you take your, and you,
get your bib on.
I want to go out. I'm not going to go out. Let's order a pizza and watch YouTube. So hopefully.
So true.
Yep.
And I don't mean any disrespect for that. I know how life
that's
is.
life, man.
So I feel like now opening a comedy club in this day and age is like I have a blacksmith shop and I'm making kick-ass horseshoes, but the public wants car bumpers. So how do we do that? A show like this can really have some clout because we can come into your living room and still be entertaining and hopefully still be funny and give you something to think about when you're sitting in your underwear eating Breyer's ice cream
and Cheetos
and having a good
Crumbs
time.
everywhere.
Crumbs everywhere, the whole deal. So we got to evolve. I think it's just survival of the fittest.
And we talked about that when we were on the radio too, because we kept saying radio is a dying entity.
Adapt or die.
What else can you do? And we did it. We're here.
Yep.
We're here now. I mean, even YouTube probably has a shelf life, but I think it's going to be going strong for a little while longer yet. But there's always another way. I mean, that's why there's Instagram, Twitter, whatever. How many other Tumblr? I don't know how many different apps are on phones to watch this.
That's why your generation can hopefully listen,
Yeah.
because I think your generation is just as interested in the subjects as we are.
Sure.
I think YouTube will be a staple on the internet.
Oh,
There's no other video site that'll compete. So.
Well, I
Pornhub.
For different reasons.
Exactly right. I got a Brazilian coming away from them. No, I think though, if there is another one that would appeal to a younger audience. Once we get them, Rodney Dangerfield as a comedian appealed to people probably 30 or 40 years younger than he was. I was a teenager when he was my age now, and I thought he was great. Age really didn't matter at all. He was funny, and his personality was so strong. Funny is funny. I think interest is interest as we talk about some of these things that have been around for thousands of years, like numerology. We had a guest out about numerology. I never ever thought, did you know anything about it?
You guys have mentioned it, and I haven't really dived into it, but I'm intrigued by it.
You should be fascinated by it once have you heard about it?
Oh, yeah.
There's books about it. Now, I legally changed my name. I don't...
Like, every number has a meaning to it, and everything added.
If you add up the letters in your name, and you add
It's an energy. It's an energy.
I would love to look into
it.
And
I had my legal name now is Dobie J. Maxwell. People say, what's the J for? Genius. Okay. 1 in 100 get it.
J for genius.
Thank God. But I was really having a hard time when I was coming up with something, and I said my birth name was Mark O'Brien. There were 9 Marks in my 4th grade class,
Wow.
and there was another Mark D. So Dobie became short for that. I was called that since I was a kid. If someone calls me Mark, I don't even turn around anymore. It's just Beaver Cleaver of the old show. So to make a long story longer, like I usually do, I'm Dobie, and I'm thinking, boy, Mark's brothers. That doesn't sound right. Maxwell. That sounds good. Yeah, Maxwell. It looks good in print. It's got an X, like people do. And it wasn't complete. So I gotta have a middle name or something. Well, there's Jay Leno. There's Jerry Seinfeld. They start with J. I'll just use an initial.
Cool.
Dobie J Maxwell. We had the lady on that was the numerologist person, and she said, "Okay, what was your birth name?" And I told her, "And what's your name now?" And I told her, and she said, "It's exactly the same number, exactly the same energy." And I told her about the J. She said, your inner mind knows the energy. It was missing one. The J was the final piece. I don't care what you call yourself. You are the same energy going out.
Wow.
I'm thinking, wow, that was just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's around longer than Christianity. It's not a religion, but I'm just fascinated by numerology.
Same here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Osmonds were heavy into numerology. Everything they did was based on numerology, and they were infatuated with the number 11 for some reason.
Oh, that's a good thing you brought up. 11 and 22. If your birthday is on the 11th or the 22nd, technically, those people tend to be movers and shakers. It's amazing to me how that is. And I'm thinking, well, that wouldn't mean anything. And sure enough, I look at birthdays on 11 or 22.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. George Clinton, my favorite musician of all time. He's July 22nd.
Oh.
Rodney Dangerfield, November 22nd.
Uh-huh.
I get back with my high school sweetheart. I haven't talked to her in years and years.
Uh-huh.
And I said, did your birthday happen to be on an 11 or 22nd? Yes, my birthday is June 11th. I said, the movers and the shakers are all
My brother's is October 22nd.
amazing. So, whoop, you just got someone there too. But it's a fascinating thing. It's a lot of fascinating.
So I'm sure there's always comparisons with the other birthdays too. And
No, there are, but for whatever reason, I think that to know a little bit, I came into the radio show saying, okay, I'm not going to be a total gullible believer, and I'm not going to be a total jerk skeptic. I want to be right in the middle and see what people have to offer.
Sure.
And there was so much good stuff. If it's BS, it was such well-crafted BS that it's good entertainment anyway. So
I would like to do an episode on that then. Maybe I'll do some studying this week.
Here's all the topics that we had. There's hundreds of them in there.
Yes.
Look through. We've had a lot of guests, a lot of phone guests. That's the one technology thing I think we need to do is get some phone, maybe Skype people.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that now.
I'll bring my laptop in so then we can have this one going and then, we can do that.
All right, beautiful. I think that is our time. Anything else
Yeah.
for our anniversary show?
No,
thank you guys for
yeah,
watching.
absolutely.
It's been a good
If
year.
there's any topics that we haven't covered yet, or you want to see more of something we did cover, by all means, please comment, hit us up on
Subscribe,
Facebook, email,
yeah.
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Anything you can do to get in touch with us, we'd love to hear. And if there's a topic you want to hear or hear more of, by all means.
And also, too, I think we need to, newsletter, Facebook, whatever it is to get out there. We'll get it. I mean, it's our first year. Does a baby grow more between, I think, is it 2 and 5 than the rest of their lives together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
MASH hit its legs maybe around season 3.
Yeah, so
Right.
we got,
Yeah.
forgive us for what our,
So would you say we've had a successful first year?
Without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah, same here.
That's for you, WLIP. And I mean that in a friendly and a customer service kind of a way. Just so it's recorded, I have gone back there nicely to try to get on the air again, and they have poo-pooed the idea, even though the general manager of the station said there were 2 best shows were Music of the Stars with Lou Regani, who was the voice of the Mothership, and Mothership Connection. That's what everybody talks about, but they won't have us back on the air because they are grudge little
And I saw the manager at WLIP out at an event, and he made that he didn't know who I was or couldn't remember me. So
So,
don't need him.
But we got we got this going.
cyberspace is bigger than a little pissant radio station in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So, on behalf of Keri Turner, our Millennial Falcon, and Greg DeGuire, my name is Dobie Maxwell, the King of Uranus. We will fly on soon when the Mothership flies again. Thank you for watching.